We're doing pork on pork. It's going to bring together the baked stuffed sweet potatoes perfectly. You know, I switched over to sweet potatoes a couple years ago to cut back on my carbs from the white potatoes. But what I found is, from looking at other recipes, and a really simple one, is that you can simply stuff sweet potatoes just as easy. I'm going to show you a lighter version, but I'm going to show you the full-on bacon version that I think John Scalzi is going to certainly enjoy as we whip up some baked stuffed sweet potatoes with some grilled pork chops. I think you're going to like this one to start your Monday. So what we're going to do is we're going to season up the pork chops. Have you noticed how popular pork in very different ways has become, not only in restaurant menus, but in your grocery stores? It's really prevalent because it is a little better for you, for the most part, not necessarily bacon, but the pork tenderloin and pork chops, than red meat. They call it the other white meat for a reason. But what I'm going to do is I have my griddle pan, just a touch of oil I rub on the back part. We'll season these two babies up on this once we flip it over. And let's get that grilling right here in a griddle pan. Very simple seasonings. I'm using the Colonial seasoning from the Spice and Tea Exchange on St. Armand's. Bright red pepper, parsley, garlic, really great flavors, paprika, but you can simply use a Montreal steak seasoning. Salt and pepper, garlic salt's always great. Now let's get to the sweet potatoes. Always roast your sweet potatoes instead of putting them in the microwave, because you want to bring out the natural juices. Just taking the sweet potatoes out of the oven and putting them here, look at that. Delicious. It's almost like a maple syrup on the base of this dish that I put them in, right? It's going to be perfect. So you're going to roast the sweet potatoes and just until they're soft. Be careful not to overcook them, because what will happen is you'll lose the skin as the base. And you want the skin as the base because that's the vehicle. What's really fun is you can just create a baked potato bar for your family. So you can put out different cheeses, bacon, you could use turkey bacon if you want. You can even use leftover pork chops, dice them up and put that in your sweet potatoes or chicken for a second meal. But this is just a really fun way to have a midweek meal, or you know what, on the weekends. It's just gonna, this pairs well with just about everything. So see, now you're gonna see, I have a tear on that particular one. I always make 2 extra potatoes, just so I can have nice full stuffed potatoes, and because the skin's gonna tear a little bit. Now, in this bowl, what I'm gonna do is add some sour cream and butter, and we'll whip that up when you come back, and we'll show you how to garnish it. And ooh, this is like Comfort Monday for sure. I'll be back in just a few minutes. So the pork chops are finishing off. Now, if you need just a little more time, especially if there's a thick bone, just put it on the pan. This is the pan that I cooked the bacon on, so we have a little bacon fat on there. We're gonna pop these in the oven anyway. And what I did was I used a mixture of regular no nitrate bacon with peppered market bacon from the Fresh Market. It's on sale this week, so you might want to get some extra and put it in the freezer. So I scooped out the sweet potatoes. You can see how much filling there's going to be, but we want to make them abundant, so you might have 1 or 2 skins left over. You can either use butter, which I use, or to fluff it up a little bit is a little oil, and that's going to keep the calories down a little bit. But you know me, I like my dairy, so I'm gonna add a little bit of sour cream. Not as much as if I were making white baked stuffed potatoes, because the sweet potatoes in general are just so creamy and yummy. Then I'm gonna take some sharp cheddar cheese, and again, you can mix up your cheese any way you want. Gruyere works really well, so you get that nutty bite with it. But cheddar seems to be the most popular, so I'm gonna save a little bit to go on top, and then just give it a really quick whisk. Now I've cooked up my bacon, like I said, here it is. So we're gonna take that and right into the potatoes, probably an abundant amount, and then add some fresh snipped chives. The thing I find is when you're cooking with kids, it's the green stuff sometimes. So what I do is I put the chives on the side, and as long as they like onions, they'll usually really go for having the chives, but you just have to kind of explain it to them. And then if you make it fun, like a baked potato bar, sweet potato bar, then they start to get more into it and they like to play with the color. So that makes it a little bit easier. So this is stirred around bacon, cheese. You know, this is perfect for a brunch item as well. Can you imagine a poached egg on top of one of these babies? It would make entertaining so easy because you can do all these steps before company comes or the day before, and then just pop them in the oven just for about 15 minutes just to get the top bubbling a little bit. So I'll be back to finish up and serve up some lunch with these delicious candy style bacon baked stuffed sweet potatoes.
In a word, decadent. Just decadent. It's so good.
Right, isn't that just like, that could be your brunch, your lunch, your dinner, that it just, it's so filling as it is just by itself, but you could have it with the pork chops
Sure.
or kind of really any type of protein.
Even
But
a
it stands
salad,
on its
just
own.
with a salad would be
Yeah, I
fine.
think that's probably the best choice, but no, I made it with pork chops.
Yeah, that's a good choice too.
So, you know, you can find the recipe on mysuncoast.com. Just click on the dining section, the recipe, the video, and don't forget our weekly dining contest. You could enter to win a $50 gift card.
How do these
And,
freeze?
You
you
know,
think?
sweet potatoes do not freeze
Oh, really?
so well. So what I would recommend is that I would do that in the refrigerator for 3 days,
Mm-hmm.
but you have to watch the skins get really soggy. Remember, anytime you freeze something like that has a starch in it, especially like a white potato doesn't freeze, it's because of that starch when the water from the freezer compiles with it.
So when you make it, eat it.
make it, eat it, or leave it up to 3 days in the
There you
fridge.
go. This is absolutely delicious.